Bonjour à tous and welcome to French for a Day. This is the place where I love to share with you my love for France, and I love to talk about French beauty, fashion and lifestyle. I post a new video every Saturday, and today we're talking about the most iconic French perfumes. Some of these fragrances made history and they are bestsellers and well known all over the world. Others are less famous, but they deserve equal amount of attention and appreciation. Each of the fragrances that I'm going to mention today deserve to be part of anyone's collection, and I think that you should own each of these fragrances at least once in your life. So let's go ahead and get started. If you're new here, a very special welcome. Be sure to subscribe. I would love to have you as part of this amazing beauty family that we have here on YouTube. And if you're returning, welcome back, dear friends. I would like to ask all of you to let me know in the comments what is your favorite French perfume. I would love to know. I think that everyone would agree that in France, perfume is a form of art. In France, perfumes became popular during the Renaissance period when Caterina de' Medici, wife of King Henry II, introduced a fashion for perfumes in the French court. Then France dedicated one of the most beautiful regions in the country, Provence, to farmlands that were supposed to grow ingredients for making varieties of perfumes. Today, a beautiful town in south of France called Grasse is named the perfume capital of the world for a good reason. It's definitely worth visiting this most beautiful and fragrant city in France. I think that a lot of the tourists usually miss to visit this beautiful city, and there are so many fragrance lovers. So pay a visit to Grasse if you are in France. In the perfume selection that I prepared for today's video, I wanted to have something for everyone, for people that like floral, lighter fragrances and for people who love classic, deep, dark fragrances. So I'm gonna start with a personal favorite that I keep repurchasing over the years. It is actually a fresh bottle of Mon Guerlain Eau de Parfum. I'm just going to unbox it and start talking about it. Mon Guerlain is one of the more new contemporary French fragrances that is very elegant with a quite unique composition. It was created by Thierry Vasser and Delphine Gelg. And what makes this fragrance quite unique, I usually choose the Eau de Parfum version, but I've had a lot of the flankers of Mon Guerlain as well. I love them. Sparkling Bouquet and Bloom of Rose, these are two of my favorites. Now, I love the Eau de Parfum because it is a timeless, elegant fragrance. The face of Mon Guerlain, as a lot of you know, is the gorgeous Angelina Jolie. And I think that choosing Angelina to be the face of Mon Guerlain was a very smart move from Guerlain, because this fragrance truly represents a Wonder Woman. It represents a real lady. This is one of the most unique, elegant and beautiful fragrances of our times. I think that what makes this fragrance unique is the top note. They decided to use lavender, which is a typical note that is used in males' fragrances. They decided to put this note into a female fragrance, and I have to say that the combination is beautiful. The whole composition of the fragrance is incredibly beautiful because it is very feminine, but I think that the lavender is the note that gives uniqueness to this perfume. The bottle itself is very elegant. I usually go for the 30 ml because I don't need to spray a lot. If you want to know a little bit more about how to apply perfumes the French way, I have a video that I'm going to link here above. I usually don't like to overspray fragrances, and that's why for such a fragrance like Mon Guerlain, this is quite intense and it develops beautifully once you spray it on the skin. I think that the 30 ml is just right for me. Next, we're moving on to a perfume house that not many people know and not many people talk about, and they should. And this is the house of Fragonard. If you're visiting Paris, then you can't skip the Musée du Parfum Fragonard. It's located very close to the beautiful Opera Garnier that probably everyone is visiting, but I think that a lot of the tourists fail to visit this beautiful perfume museum and they don't even know that it exists. And there you can try all of the Fragonard fragrances. They are beautiful creations. This is the place where you can learn so much about perfume making, about the different notes. It is a very unique experience. And the fragrance that I'm going to mention is Belle Chérie. Unfortunately, I don't have it right now with me. I purchased this one the last time when I was in Paris, and I still haven't unboxed everything, all of my purchases from Paris, because everything, my luggage is in our other apartment. So unfortunately, I cannot show you the beautiful bottle, but the bottle is a true work of art. It has notes of tangerine, starfruit, jasmine, lily of the valley, and then the base is tonka and vanilla and sandalwood. So it is a beautiful floral woody combination with a touch of amber. Fragonard create incredible quality perfumes, and they are not overpriced as you would probably expect. Belle Chérie costs only 46 euro, which is incredible price considering the quality of this fragrance. I'm a huge fan of this fragrance house and I have a few favorites. Let me know if you want a video where I'm going to show you more of the Fragonard fragrances and tell you a little bit more the story behind this fragrance house. We're moving on to one of the most popular and iconic fragrances of our times, and this is one of the best sellers as well worldwide, and this is Coco Mademoiselle. There are different variations of Coco Mademoiselle, but the one that I'm going to be talking about is the classic original Coco Mademoiselle. I love the Eau de Parfum and the Extrait. Extrait being my favorite version of Coco Mademoiselle because it's the most rich, and I think probably it gives me the whole experience of applying the fragrance from the Extrait bottle. It gives me something more, something like a more luxurious experience. Now this is a classic fragrance. It has a citrus opening, but it's not that fresh citrus opening. It's not that burst of lemons, but it has a soft citrus opening. From the opening is orange blossom, a touch of bergamot, but it's not too zesty. It's not too strong. And then a beautiful bouquet of flowers comes to unveil its beauty, and it has rose and jasmine, ylang-ylang, and the base is beautiful patchouli, vanilla, which adds a lot of depth to the fragrance. This is a fragrance that has a lot of character. It's very elegant and it's a timeless beauty. Moving on to another Chanel masterpiece, and it's not a bestseller. Not many people talk about this fragrance, and I think they should, because this is definitely one of the most beautiful and unique Chanel fragrances, and this is Allure Eau de Parfum. I think that this is the most sophisticated fragrance that the House of Chanel have ever created, and it is a soft amber vanilla fragrance with very rich floral composition as well. This is a multifaceted fragrance, and it's very hard to explain. It's very hard to review this fragrance because different notes come and go when you spray this fragrance. And this fragrance, I find that it's unique to everyone's skin because it has so many ingredients. It is a very complex fragrance that develops during the day. It is the fragrance for an elegant woman, for an elegant lady. I would definitely say that this is a feminine fragrance. Of course, men can wear these fragrances as well. Fragrances don't have gender. You can wear whatever you like, but this is definitely a fragrance that sits very feminine to me. There is nothing sexy and seductive about this fragrance. It is pure elegance and sophistication in a bottle. It is alluring and beautiful. And here I cannot say what are the top notes, heart notes and base notes, because it is the only fragrance that is multifaceted, and every time when I spray it, I find something unique to this fragrance. There is peach, there is rose and jasmine and vanilla and cedar and orange blossom and some vetiver and peony and all of the notes. It is probably the most unique composition from a Chanel fragrance. So if you haven't seen this one, and if you have never tried this one, I would say go ahead and try it, but try it on your skin, because this is one of the most beautiful, developing and complex fragrances. So just spray a couple of times on your wrist and see how it's going to develop and see what kind of a character it's going to show on your skin. Moving on to one of the most popular fragrances in the past 10 years, and this is La Vie est Belle by Lancome. There are so many different flankers and versions of this fragrance. I'm only going to mention the Eau de Parfum because I think that this is probably still the most beautiful one. I love the Eau de Parfum version. I love En Rose, which is a more fresh version, and then I love Intensement. But today in this video we're only talking about the La Vie est Belle, the classic Eau de Parfum. And it is a beautiful composition from Lancome. This is a pure bohemian Parisian fragrance, I would say. It is so rich, fruity, floral fragrance with a touch of praline and with a touch of gourmand vibe. It's not too sweet, not too edible. I would say that a little goes a long way with this fragrance. You shouldn't overspray it because it's very rich, it's very bohemian, fruity floral fragrance that is full of life, it's full of joy. I would say that this is not office friendly fragrance because it is a little bit too playful for an office fragrance, but it's definitely a beautiful night out fragrance. It's beautiful date fragrance. It's beautiful fragrance for the weekend when you want to have fun, when you want to enjoy. And this is definitely a fragrance that is going to turn heads. Next, moving on to the house of Lanvin, and not many perfume lovers talk about this fragrance house, but they create some of the most beautiful fragrances. I'm going to start with my personal favorite from the house because I don't really know how many bottles of this one I've used. Some of you who have been following me for a while might already know about this fragrance. Now, the prices of these fragrances are incredible and the quality is mind-blowing. So my favorite one from the house is Jean Lanvin. This is one of the most beautiful fragrances for the spring-summer season, and I have a full fresh bottle I just purchased from Paris, and again, it's still not with me. None of my luggage is unboxed and unpackaged. I still have to do the unboxing. Okay, I just got too excited because I was thinking of Paris. I was remembering the time spent in Paris, and I just got carried away. But anyways, moving to this fragrance. I have a fresh bottle of this one and I'm so happy about it. Now, this is the signature fragrance of my 20s. I'm always going to keep this perfume in my collection, and I don't know why so many people are not talking about this fragrance. It is the most beautiful, youthful fragrance. It is spring in a bottle, elegant spring fragrance. It's mostly suitable, I would say, for the spring-summer season. It is too fresh for the fall and the winter season. It has the most beautiful citrus opening. It has lemon, pear at the opening, and immediately you can feel jasmine, peony, rose. And then there are musk, amber, sandalwood, which gives depth to the fragrance. It is surprisingly long-lasting. It is fresh elegance. So this is the best description that I have for this fragrance. If you love fresh, elegant, fruity floral fragrances, then this one is going to be for you. It has a little pink ribbon here on the bottle, which I usually remove because I'm carrying the bottles all the time with me. And then moving on to the last fragrance that I just purchased in Paris, and this is by Lanvin. Again, it is one of their timeless classics, and this is Arpège. Now, this is a feminine masterpiece that was first created in 1927. This perfume has a very interesting history. I'm so sorry that I can't show you the bottle because the bottle is truly beautiful. It has this Art Deco design. I used to have Arpège years and years ago, and I decided to repurchase it now in Paris because of it is a beautiful fragrance. It is a very intense fragrance, the kind of intensity that you're going to get from Chanel No. 5. And a little goes a long way here. You should not overspray this fragrance because it's one of the older perfumes that have aldehydes. So you really have to let them work with your skin and you really have to let them develop. But this fragrance has the most beautiful story. It is commemorating the love between a mother and daughter and this connection. This legendary fragrance was born in 1927, and then the one that I have right now was reworked in 1993, which is close to the original, but still they made it a little bit more modern and a little bit more wearable. So back in 1927, Jean Lanvin wanted to surprise her daughter. Madame Lanvin wanted to offer her beloved daughter the most beautiful fragrance in the world as a 30th birthday gift. She was quoted saying, "I'm not talking about fashion or budgets, I'm talking about perfection." And that's exactly what she asked from the perfumer. With money being no object, the perfumer created Arpège using the world's most precious ingredients such as bergamot, neroli, Bulgarian rose, jasmine, violet, ylang-ylang, iris, vetiver. The fragrance is incredibly complex. A French novelist once described Arpège as a musical fragrance that hums a happy song. "The fairies recommend it," he said. On each of Lanvin's fragrances, you're going to see the symbol of the house, which is a mother and a child holding hands together. This is because Madame Lanvin's daughter was her biggest love, her biggest inspiration, and much of the success of the house is owed to Lanvin's daughter, who was the inspiration behind the designs. And then we're moving on to the fragrance of fragrances, the iconic and timeless Chanel No. 5. Chanel No. 5 is such an iconic fragrance that I think it needs no introduction. I think that all of us have either owned a bottle of Chanel No. 5 or smelled Chanel No. 5 on our mothers or grandmothers. And Chanel No. 5 I never owned a bottle of Chanel No. 5 myself because it was the signature fragrance of my mother. And I always have very much respect to Chanel No. 5, but I could never wear it. I was waiting for the moment when I'm actually going to feel grown up enough to wear Chanel No. 5. I love the scent of Chanel No. 5. I love to smell this fragrance on my mother. And every time when I smell Chanel No. 5 on the street, I somehow turn my head and I have a look at the woman that's wearing this fragrance. This perfume is timeless, beautiful, and it couldn't get more elegant and more iconic. I was looking forward to the moment when I was going to feel grown up enough to wear Chanel No. 5, but then after my mom passed away, I could never bring myself to buying a bottle of Chanel No. 5 just because of the strong memories that I have. Somehow it's too nostalgic for me. I respect and love and still keep her last bottle of Chanel No. 5 right before she passed away. And I think that I'm never ever going to wear a Chanel No. 5, but without doubt this is one of the most timeless perfumes and a perfume that deserves to be in everyone's fragrance collection. At least once in your life you have to spray yourself with Chanel No. 5. It is like the fragrance of success. It is like the ultimate feminine fragrance. And since we're talking about iconic French perfumes that made history, I mentioned Chanel No. 5. I can't help myself. I have to mention also Miss Dior by the House of Dior. I know that a lot of people love this perfume and a lot of people are equally frustrated because this is probably one of the most reformulated perfumes of the House of Dior. We have a new version of Miss Dior every couple of years. Initially, Miss Dior was presented in 1947 and the name Miss Dior comes from Christian Dior's sister. Of course, the original version of Miss Dior was created with aldehydes. It was very strong, very sharp, something that we wouldn't wear today, something that is, let's say, way too strong for today. It was a strong floral composition with aldehydes. Of course, such old and iconic fragrances need to be reworked so that they are more suitable for today's modern world, just like the Arpège Parfum by Lanvin was reworked in 1993 to make it a little bit more modern and a little bit more wearable for today. But Miss Dior is one of the fragrances that has seen so many reformulations over the year. I think that a lot of people still suffer for the iconic Miss Dior Chérie, created in 2005 by Christine Nagel. I think that this is the favorite version of Miss Dior of so many people. Unfortunately, Dior couldn't keep it. This is also my favorite version of Miss Dior. I think that it was truly unique perfume for the House of Dior and worthy of wearing the name Miss Dior because it was a sweet cherry, strawberry, popcorn that a lot of people loved. It has a lot of character. It was feminine, but at the same time full of character. And then after that, Miss Dior became lighter and, let's say, more modern, but a lot of people didn't like that. Today, my personal favorite flanker of Miss Dior is the Miss Dior Blooming Bouquet, which this year was revamped and reformulated. It is still the same fragrance, they just changed the packaging, so no worries about that. I've already tried the new version and it is the same as the old version. There are very little differences. Some people started to think that the fragrance is different. It is not. There is always going to be a little bit of difference between different batches of fragrances. So if you're thinking that the new Miss Dior Blooming Bouquet is different from the old one. I still have a little bit left from the old one with this bowl. Right now the bowl of Miss Dior Blooming Bouquet is made of fabric. It is still the same fragrance, just the packaging has been changed. As for Miss Dior Blooming Bouquet, it has rose and peony, and it has a fresh, very soft, light citrus opening and a musky base. It's not long lasting, but it's one of the most beautiful and feminine fragrances for the spring season. There are a couple of honorable mentions that I wanted to make. One of them is the YSL Parisienne, and this one is discontinued. Honorable mentions because these are fragrances that are discontinued, but still I think that they represent beautifully the French perfumery. And the YSL Parisienne is one of my favorite perfumes. I don't know why they decided to discontinue it. I still am holding on to this bottle just to remind me of this beautiful perfume, but it is a beautiful floral, woody musk perfume. The interesting note here is the vanilla, which is beautifully blended with flowers, with peony and rose, and it has cranberry and musk in the base. I think that it was a beautiful fragrance for the modern Parisienne and of the modern Parisian woman. Once again, I don't know why they discontinued it, but I know that Opium is the most best-selling fragrance of YSL, and it is truly iconic, but this was my personal favorite, and that's why I wanted to mention it. And I also wanted to mention a fragrance that made history, and this is Joy by Jean Patou. It is said to be the most expensive perfume created. It is an old fragrance created in the 1930s. I'm a huge fragrance lover, and I could spend hours talking about French fragrances and fragrance houses. I have a lot more fragrances that I wanted to include in this selection, but I wanted to keep this video quite short, and I wanted to choose fragrances that you can enjoy today, now, and I also took into consideration the season. It is spring, and we're spring-summer season, and perfumes that are going to be suitable and most beautiful during this season. I might share some other iconic French fragrances in a next French for a Day video. Thank you so much for spending time with me and for watching my video, and let me know in the comments what is your favorite French perfume, or what are some of your favorite French perfumes, iconic fragrances that you love and enjoy and that we should all know about. Thank you for watching my video, and until next time, bye!